You are listening to the B.I.G Show with your hosts, Calvin and Garland. The B.I.G Show is a weekly breakdown of the sports world from a fan's perspective. Here are your hosts, Calvin and Garland.
It is the big show. And
with
we're
CLC.
back again. So wow.
CLC, y'all.
We're live on YouTube, and I think we're live on my Facebook page right now. I tried something different. I think we are. I'm not quite sure if we are. Thank you. But if we are live on YouTube, as I said, you can get us on all the podcast platforms. If you have Spotify, you'll get to see us, our faces on Spotify when the download hits. But I'm Calvin. That's my dude, Garland. What's going on, Garland?
I'm good, club level, man. Thank you for coming back after CIAA. You know, Calvin's very important to the city. You know, he's one of the vital guys. He works for one of the local agencies in the city that does a lot of our work in the city with out of town visitors. And he was needed. He was needed downtown. If you know, last week was CIAA in Baltimore, or, the Black Family Reunion, as we call it. And so it was been here. They've done an excellent job, Baltimore City, with it. As a matter of fact, my where I work, the building where I work is also a hotel, and that was one of the hotels for the CIAA. So I saw a lot of people coming in and out for the tournament. So CLC, he was little Calvin, club level Calvin. If you don't know who CLC is. CLC, I'm just making sure the listeners know who CLC is. CLC, I know he was a little tired from the tournament and all. We wasn't able to go this year. Normally CLC gets the seats and everything. He did have some seats for Championship Sunday. But,
Saturday. I did have some
Saturday,
seats,
Saturday.
but you decided you wanted to go see
I
the
made other
Towson
plans.
game.
Yeah, I wanted to go see my alma mater, Hampton University, play Towson. The Towson Tigers, they lost in the last couple seconds and all. Hopefully, they'll do well in the tournament, which starts today. They're in the Colonial Athletic League. We're not in. I'm sorry, my HBCU. It's a little bit better than the other HBCUs. We're not in the MEAC, and we're not in the CIAA. That's for those other schools. We're in a white conference with other white teams, but we're not white. We black. But anyway, nonetheless. Yeah, so CLC, I know he was a little tired last week and whatnot. So I just left him alone. I just, I reach out towards the end of the week just to see, because then, he also got to get permission from the landlord. And so if the landlord has not approved the recording schedule, then we gotta wait. But the landlord, I don't think the landlord's there today. Is the landlord there today?
He's not here yet, but
Yeah.
he's
All right.
he's
I'm
making
wasting
his
time.
way.
Oh my god. Let's just go ahead and get into it. I'm talking too much.
He's terrorizing another family member right now,
Okay.
so he's
God.
collecting money there. So he'll be
God.
here to collect this money.
Let me hurry up. Because when the
But he was
landlord
here
comes
last
in.
week right after CIAA had to
Wait.
go get him. So he was Saturday night right after we leave. It was Saturday night. We go pick
Yeah.
him up, and he was ready.
He had his Paw Patrol hoodie on. He was waiting for Calvin to extort him of money. What's up, Cal? You feeling good yourself, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just speaking of real quick of CIAA, during the halftime of the women's championship game, we received the announcement that Angie Stone
Angie
had
Stone.
been killed in the car accident, which is sad. She was actually on her way. She was leaving Alabama, and she was on her way to Baltimore because she was supposed to be performing at the halftime of the men's championship game. So, real sad situation. So, condolences and prayers to her family and friends and anyone that definitely enjoyed her music and all. So, sad situation.
Definitely hip hop moment from the hip hop professor. Angie Stone was
Yeah,
in the first woman's rap group, the first all
yeah.
female rap group sequence. Well, then again, I don't know if I would call the first rap song or the second rap song by Paulette and Tanya Whitley. They were not necessarily a group. All right, and so yeah, we give it a
We're gonna
sequence.
funk
Funk
you
you up.
right on
Yep.
up. We're gonna
Yep.
funk
As
you
a matter of
right
fact,
on up.
from what I understand, they were on several of the early Sugar Hill Gang records, either doing background vocals or crowd noise. They helped write some of those songs.
Okay.
Uh, sh- Angie Stone was married to Rodney Stone, or Rock Ready Little Rodney C., who was in Funky Four Plus One More, who were the first rap group to appear on Saturday Night Live. And yeah, so a lot of history. Also, she had a relationship with D'Angelo. She wrote a
Mhm.
lot of some of your neo soul, some of your favorite neo soul songs.
Mhm.
As a matter of fact, I pulled out. I think it was Mahogany, one of her albums. It might have been the second one, and the first one as well was very good as well. Someone said she was in a relationship with your boy, city graduate Jamal Bryant. I don't know how much that's true. I don't think he laid claim to that, but
I think
he
I think
slayed a
we've
lot throughout the
heard that.
country. Yeah, we've heard that. His marks are all over this country. You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, what we got going on in sports
He
today?
was even down at my alma mater. His hands have been all around the country. Pastor Jamal, God bless your ministry, sir.
Leave that man alone.
I
He he
ain't
got
mad at
some
him. I
he
ain't
got
mad
a
at
he
him.
got a video circulating when he got banned from West Baltimore. He got a video
Yeah, yeah.
recirculating,
Speaking of
man.
that,
Yeah,
speaking
he
about
just
getting pressed,
yeah.
let's go ahead and jump into it, man. Your boy LeBron, he did what old boy did to Jamal that day. If you don't know, LeBron James doing the Thursday night game. The Lakers are playing the New York Knicks, and during the timeout, LeBron gets up, comes out of the timeout. He just say, "Forget JJ. I don't hear what play you drawing up." Walks over to my man Stephen A., who's sitting with the guy who's the inspiration for Ari. What was the show on HBO where Ari was the manager of the
Um, it was called, wasn't it called Millions? Was it? No, it
no,
wasn't called
no, no,
Millions.
no. It wasn't millions. It was like
Shoot,
they were. He was
I
like
know what you're talking
yeah, yeah, yeah. And um, so yeah, he goes over to Stephen A. and he pressed your boy Stephen A. about his baby boy Bronny Jr. As a matter of fact, Stephen A. On his YouTube show, he said he basically like, yo, shut the fuck up about my son. keep my son out this shit. Keep my son name out your effing mouth.
about.
That's basically what he told LeBron. And so I've been seeing a lot of mixed reaction about this. Some people praising LeBron because he went at him as a man. Some people like, why are you upset? Your son he's a professional basketball player. The only reason why he's in the league is because of you, and you keep pushing him in the forefront. He's open for criticism. Although, Stephen A said, I didn't criticize him. I criticized you as a dad. Stop pushing him. I ain't had no problem with Bronny. I wish him the best. My issue with you. He could have called me, Stephen A. He's still holding it like, yo, you could have called me about this, but you try to press me down at the crypto spot. So what's your thoughts, man? Was LeBron wrong? I mean, was he right for pressing Stephen A like that? Is that going to open the door for these other dudes to start pressing people when they don't like what they say?
Well, this is nothing new pressing anybody. I mean, we
Yeah,
noticed that.
yeah. I mean, they've been pressed before, but
Yeah,
we ain't never seen it on
yeah.
camera.
This is a little different
It's a little
level.
different,
Unless you're Jalen Rose and you killing Skip Bayless on
right?
first take when he was on that show. But it's so many different layers to it. So you know, if I'm in the kitchen and I start a fire and I put it out, I can't be praised for putting out the fire that I started. And LeBron, you brought him in the league. You know what comes with the league, because I will go on record and basically say that LeBron is probably the most criticized athlete
Yes,
to ever be in professional
yes.
sports. So
Unwarranted often.
you know what comes with this. So
Mhm.
you brought him in the league, and he didn't just silently come in the league. Like, you brought him in the league with a lot of bravado. Like, you made some claims about him, and you pretty much said, hey, he's going to play with me, so you knew what was going to come with it. So you knew this was part of the territory. Now, as a dad, I definitely understand because you don't want anybody talking about your kids. So you're playing that game. To
Mhm.
some people you may look like a hero, but to other people you look like a hypocrite. Like, sir, this is your doing. Like, I mean, just like Stephen A. said, you could have called me. Maybe a call would have been better. I, LeBron is a weird character. He's just a weird character. Like, you just never know what angle he's trying to take. Maybe at that moment he just got angry and saw Stephen A. But does that now Stephen A is just one. He's just probably the most popular. So are you going to go after LaShawn McCoy? Are
Right.
you going to go after Joy Taylor? Are
Mhm.
you going to go after
You're
anybody
gonna
that
find
said,
Skip. You're gonna go
yeah,
after Skip.
like,
You're gonna
I
go
mean,
after Mad Dog Russo. You're gonna go after all these people who have said things about you or said things, in reference to your son not being ready for the pros.
yeah, it's just I don't know. I don't know what to say, man. It's yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I feel that I, I agree with you. You come out and you say your son could play in the NBA right now. He could play with me on the Lakers right now. That's what you said last year. He gets, I mean, and we know this. We all know this. The only reason why he's in the league is because of you.
Hmm.
You use your celebrity. You leverage your contracts, and which was brilliant. I'm not mad at it. And you got him drafted by your team, and you've made it so where he could come up and sit with you or travel with you to select games and stuff like that. I mean, it's privilege at its highest. And yes, we know it's privilege has happened in other sports. I'm not here to debate that. And actually, I'm not even sweating this whole Bronny thing anymore. He's there.
I'm
For
really not.
me,
Yeah.
let him develop in the G League. Let him get his little run. I like to see the little clips of him doing this little thing in the G League. But this thing of the NBA, he's horrible. It's obvious when he's gotten those chances, he is not ready for prime time.
Oh,
And
wait, man. Hold
it's
on, hold on, real quick. Hold on. Okay, hold on. LeBron said he wants to talk to you about what you just said. What you,
LeBron about to
what you,
press me.
what you just said about his.
Yeah, LeBron listens to the show, so yo, don't step to me, LeBron down CFG, down CFG Bank or down at the Dome when you see me down at the Dome, LeBron. Don't step to me there. Don't get the other little NBA players to stop talking to me, like Stephen A. said. Draymond not talking to him no more, and all that. What's this, like a lover spat? What, you got your girlfriend crew? Don't talk, yo. Don't talk to him anymore. I don't talk to him. You don't talk to him. It's like, yo, come on. You in the midst of a game and you thinking about Stephen A.
Yeah, man. It's just
Come on,
this
bro.
is wild.
Just it's
It's
just
wild.
wild. Just
Yeah.
go ahead, and your son's in the league now, so people can critique him. And like I said, I looked at what Stephen A said. It wasn't a critique about him. He even said, I wish your son the best. It's you. And LeBron, it is you. You have pushed your son. It reminds me, Calvin, of, and I only know about this from the black perspective, the preacher's kid. Now, the preacher's kid, there's a phenomenon in the black church, what we call PKs, the preacher's kid. And the preacher kid always gets up front. They get the best spot. They always get the favor from the congregation. Why? Because they're the preacher's kid. And a lot of times when people come for the preacher's kid, then the pastor, he want to start swinging on people. Oh, don't come for my child. But hey, you came for my child when they had a child out of wedlock or they did something. But when your child do the same thing or your child not achieving, and I say something about your child, you want to swing. You want to put me out the church. But it can't be that way. And so, LeBron, you push Bronny up to the forefront. And all eyes are on him. And so, yeah, people can make that assessment. And most of the assessment I hear is that you need to stop pushing. Let him progress on his own. Let him grow. It comes to a certain time in the life as a parent that you just have to let your child sink or swim. You don't want them to drown. So, yeah, you can be on the shore watching them, make sure they don't drown, but you
Mhm.
got to let them swim. You got to let them swim at the G League level. I don't have no illusions that I think like people say, oh, he could come in and be a good 6 or 7 man off. No, he can't. He can't shoot, but he can shoot in the G League. Let him get his grind on in the G League, and hopefully in a couple years, he's up in the big leagues, taking his swing at it. But you know, I will applaud it to say that it could have, I guess it could have been worse. I mean, because he could have mushed Stephen A. I mean, he was up on him. He could have mushed him, or Stephen A. could have tried to, break bad or whatever. It could have got worse. And so I'm glad that didn't happen. But I think that, that type of energy probably could have been saved for, let's have a discussion behind doors. When people say, hey, you did it in public, let's have it in public. And I don't necessarily think that that's a good thing, especially for Braun, because everybody's on Braun. But I think one of the things, Calvin, that led to this is also LeBron has been in this discussion about the face of the league. You've been hearing this over the last couple weeks. The face of the league. Someone that went up to Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves and asked him, did he want to be the face of the league? And he was saying, nah, I don't want it. I don't want it. Maybe it's Wemby. Maybe it's someone else. Why do we need to have a face of the league? And LeBron, who's also kind of worried because LeBron he's this generation's best player. He is in the pantheon of top players ever to play the game, period. Like him or not, yeah, I know he's been to a lot of finals. He's lost more finals than he's won. Okay, but he's been there. He has the most points in NBA history. He pretty much changed the game. And he's a model citizen off the court. He's shown that how to take your money and make your money work for you. He didn't leave his friends behind. He brought them along with him on the journey. He's done just about everything you would want someone to do, and he does get criticized a lot for a lot of things. And so I think his interpretation was sometimes being the face of the league is not good because all you get is negativity. Um, but the league has always had a face. In the 60s, you had Wilt Chamberlain and you had Bill Russell. In the 70s, they tried to make it Kareem, but Kareem changed his name from Lou Alcindor to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and he ain't really talked to a lot of white people. So he couldn't become the face of the league, but they had a couple there. But cocaine was the face of the league around that time. Then you get Magic and Bird, who were the face of the league. Then you get
Mhm.
Jordan. Then you get Shaq and Kobe, and then now LeBron's coming around. But I want to toss this to you: do we really need it? Do we need a face of the league to kind of help usher the league to keep going, or does the league take care of itself?
So I think we're at the point now because the league is international and you have these international superstars. I think we're at the point now where we don't necessarily need a face of the league. I think the face of the league is something generated by the NBA because they're looking for the dollars. They're looking for the advertising dollars. They're looking for the money dollars. They want people to tune in. They want people to be excited. What you need is a face of a team. Because if you are living in our area, the Baltimore area, the DC area, and the closest thing you have are the Wizards, you want to go down and see the basketball games, but you don't necessarily want to see the Wizards. You want to see players from other teams come in
Sure.
there. So you need a face of a team. First of all, before I even continue on that, let me start with this. LeBron, shut the fuck up. You knew you have wanted to be the face of the league since you were in high school, and you have
Right.
been the face of the
You've
league
been the face
from
of the
the
league
time
since
you
right.
stepped on the court. So shut the fuck up.
You were
Yeah,
on
let's
Sports Illustrated in high school. You had a Hummer
exactly.
in high school. You've been the face of the league for a while.
I I would respect him more if he said being the face of the league comes with so much. I would probably prefer had I not been, and we could focus on some of these other stars in the league, but not that whole. I didn't even want to be. Get the fuck out of here. Anyway,
Right.
um, but no, so I think we're at a point like in San Antonio, you got Wemby. You know, but let me go to teams that you don't really have a star that you. The Wizards don't have a star that you
Right.
really want to go see. So you know that hurts them. That hurts their fan base. That hurts their money unless you're going to see other people. And with somebody like Wemby that's out for the season, I mean, they have De'Aaron Fox now, but he's not the star of the team.
Right.
So you want to see certain players. So I don't necessarily think you need a face of the league, but you do need superstars,
And
at
good
least
teams.
one
Mhm.
person on each team that people actually want to come and see. They actually want to pay their money and see.
I agree with you. We don't necessarily need a singular face for the league to be successful and to keep going. We need good teams. We always need legacy franchises to do well. You know, we need the Bostons. We need the Lakers to be in the mix. We can throw the Warriors in there. We need those type of teams to be in the mix. We need good young up and coming teams like OKC, like
Mhm.
what Cleveland's doing this year, brings intrigue to the game. And, you know, they got some young, good players on that where they could maybe build and grow into a legacy franchise. And then, like you said, you need your established superstars. You need good players on each team, and all of that to take care of itself. It's the whole bowl of wax for the league, not just these individuals. Because what happens, I think, a lot of times when we're just focusing on these individual faces, if the individual faces are not in the playoffs, if they're not in the finals, then people lose interest in it, and that's the danger of it. I think the sport is good enough that you have so many good players. You shouldn't lose interest if LeBron's not in the finals, if Steph is not in the finals, if Giannis is not in the finals. You know, there should be enough talent to go around that people are still connected to it. That doesn't happen in baseball. People just didn't stop watching baseball when Barry Bonds stopped playing, or when if Otani doesn't make it to the World Series, people were still watching the games. And so you've got to just build up good teams. I think that's the thing. That becomes your face of the league. Of that, we have a great product, and the NBA does have a great product. I think
I
a
think they
lot of
do actually.
times,
Yeah.
yeah, I think they catch flack because it's the majority black league in all of the major sports of basketball, football, and baseball. Basketball is the blackest sport, and we always get these things of, you know, these character tests for baseball that we don't necessarily hear. I mean, excuse me, for basketball that we don't necessarily hear for baseball. We don't hear it necessarily for football. We don't hear it for golf. You know, they're not having those discussions about the character of people or the dissecting of the play of people. Oh, they're lazy. They don't play until it's late in the season. I never hear that about baseball. Baseball is way double more games than basketball is, but you never hear a narrative about uh, baseball players just not playing until August or September. You know, oh, they're hustling all year. I think that's a false narrative. And so the league will take care of itself. It has a lot of great young players in it. It has some great established players in it. And as those established players start to age out, it's always the cycle's going to continue. A lot of people probably thought the game would die with Bird and Magic, but then we got Jordan, we got Ewan, we got the rest of that crew. Everybody thought the game would die with them, and then we got Kobe, we got Shaq, we got the next generation.
Hmm.
Thought the game would die with them. Then we got LeBron, we got KD, we got Steph, and the game is going to keep on going. Now you got Wemby, you got all these other players, you got Shea Gilgis, Alexander, you got all these
You
great
got
players.
Luca.
John Morant, you got Luca.
Luca.
Yeah, so
He's
you
a
know
Laker now, so you know I'm a huge.
Luca's been playing well. I watched that Thursday night game versus the Knicks, and they came back and won that game.
Hmm.
They're going to be a tough out. They're going to be a tough out. Just like I thought, they're going to put up points. I want to see what happens when they are defensively, when these teams get a chance to really prepare for them, and they're playing the other top players, and you can start to pick and roll, put Luca in the pick and roll, see if he's going to play some defense. That might make a little difference, but you're going to have to outscore them. You're gonna have to
And
outscore them.
so the one thing that as a Laker fan, and then as Laker haters, because Garland's an undercover Laker hater. As
I
a
am
Laker
not a
hater,
Laker hater.
the one thing that we all said at the beginning of the season is JJ Redick.
We
But
did. We did.
Luca and LeBron are actually, he
Bro,
maintained before Luca got there, and they're actually making him look like the best decision the Lakers made.
we giving we giving JJ Redick too much credit, just like we
We
gave
are.
Phil Jackson
I'm
too much credit.
absolutely, and that's what I'm absolutely agreeing with.
Yeah,
They are making him look like the Lakers made the right decision.
yeah,
They're making him
yeah.
look like that.
You look like a genius when you got the best player of this generation, and
Yeah,
then you get a top five
absolutely
player
making him
handed
look
to
like
you by another team. Oh yeah, you look
handed
real
to you.
smart. Handed to you for
Just
free.
here,
And,
take this.
and I
At
feel
25 years old.
what's the thought about the Mavericks now? Kyrie out for the season, street clothes where he normally is doing most
He
of the
he
season.
had his best game of the season and then out for the
He
season.
didn't even make it through that game,
He
and is out for the
had his
season.
best half of the
At the
season.
half of the season and all. Yeah, Dallas. It just went. I mean, that was a team that was in the finals last year.
In the
They were
finals.
mad with Luca because he liked beer
I just
and he's a little. He's not. He doesn't have a six pack, I guess, and maybe they just ignored all the other great stuff that he did on the court. I don't know, but I'm sure they're maybe regretting that trade right now. I'm Laker fan. I know they're happy.
oh yeah, yeah. Listen, bruh. It's highway robbery. This was a
It was.
strong arm robbery. We
It
was just
was.
we like, oh, thank you. Sure.
It
We'll
was.
give you Anthony Davis.
That was like the scene when Fat Face Andre came to Marlo and it's like, yeah, Omar stole the money that I owe you. And like sometimes the government they give Delta and all these other people a chance to, kind of make up the money. He was like, hold up, what about that ring though? He said, oh, you like this? He said, it got a lot of sentimental value. And Marlo was like, well, I ain't into sentiments. Gave it
Man.
to him.
Hey, thank you, Dallas. Thank you, Nico.
Yeah, so
Appreciate it. Nico probably won't have a job at the end of the season.
yeah,
I don't.
he
I don't
can.
see. I don't
He
see.
can. You
I don't.
traded you traded a top 5 player for a top 25 player who's in the low 10, 15 to 25, who's always injured. Ah, anyway. All right.
I don't see how he made it. As
Yeah.
soon as Kyrie got hurt and is out for the season, they should have fired Nico right
Right.
then and there. I don't
Right.
see how he. Well, anyway,
Like, Nico, can you come to the office and bring your key card, please, and your laptop? Or when he signed on to Zoom and he see HR there on Zoom, it's happened to me. I know how it is. I signed into
my,
Zoom one day, like I felt
my
like that scene from Goodfellas when Tommy went to get made and he went in the room. He was like, "Oh my god!" And they shot him in the back of the head. That's how I
my
felt when I signed into Zoom that day. It was like, "Oh, why HR in the Zoom? What they doing here?"
my password isn't working. You call HR. Oh yeah, yeah. It's come by. Bring your
Bro, that's
computer
happened to me.
by here. Bring your computer by
I'm
here so
trying to
we can take
scan
a
and I
look
got
at
the little fob out. Hey, my fob ain't working. My fob. Go work my little key. What's going on?
I maintain if you have never been fired from a job, then you have not lived life until you've been fired from a job.
Yeah, bro.
Trust me.
I'm telling you.
Trust me.
It'll change your whole day.
It will change. It'll change your whole perspective. You won't even be able to look at anything the same anymore. You've never been fired from a job.
Yeah.
Actually, I would suggest everyone get fired at least once.
Yeah. Yeah. See, in today's thing, when you sign in the Zoom and they that see it's different than you showing up and they be like,
Can you come into the office
can you
real
come
quick?
into the office real quick? I need to
Calvin,
talk to you.
Calvin, before you get started, can we see you real quick?
Right.
I got fired after a shift one day and was pissed.
Bro, I got up.
That's a,
I did work that morning. Like I said, signed into Zoom. Was like, oh, hey, what's
and the shit always happens after you
okay?
have a good breakfast and you just know you
Mm-hmm.
prepared for
Oh,
today. It
I'm
ain't
just
never
like. I'm
It ain't never
prepared.
one of them days you discombobulated and shit. It's always a day you ready and you're ready for work and shit.
Right.
Then they fire you.
I
What?
come up, go to the meeting. I got my little notes. Yeah, yeah. We've made a decision. Y'all not expecting me to finish the rest of the day, are y'all? I'm leaving now.
At least they told you they made a decision. I
I'll be
had a
back.
job fire me one time asking me questions and shit. They were like, on such and such a day, do you remember? And I was like, yeah, explain it to them and shit.
Right.
And they like, oh, okay, well, per the policy, that's not the. And I'm just like, oh, damn, my bad.
Right.
I'll just remember the next time. And they're like, okay, well, we've
Yeah.
decided to let you go. What?
What? You making the check?
Then
Yeah,
it's like everybody knew you was getting fired before you do. So you walk
bro.
past everybody else
Right.
and they all looking at you out the side of their eyes and shit.
Right.
And you see the one person that you always talk to, you be like, no, I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna call you later type
Right.
shit.
Hey man, when you get settled, yo, call me later on tonight, man.
I'm,
We'll
I'm
talk,
call you.
man.
I'm call you later about this bullshit.
Right.
I've seen people, some people leave with a bang and shit. Yeah, I'm out of this motherfucker.
Right.
Nobody want to work for you bitches
At
anyway.
this job. Tired of Nah, but this sometimes you just head out. Yeah, that would happen to me, my boy. I talk to my boy almost every day from work. But leading up to it, I ain't hear from him. Ain't talked to him. Called him. He ain't answered the phone. Called him that morning, like, yeah, yo, I'm about to go into this meeting. Just want to check in with you real quick, make sure I got everything straight. He ain't answer. I'm like, okay, something up. Sign into that Zoom. Oh, damn. then the brother called me 30 minutes later. Yeah, man. I had known, but I couldn't say anything.
That's
Okay.
bullshit. You
You
can
right.
always say
Give
something.
me a heads up, yo.
Exactly.
Give me a heads
Exactly.
up. I
That's
ain't gonna let you
bullshit.
walk into an ambush like that.
Exactly. At least you know going
Like,
into
yo.
it. I can't stop it, but at least you know.
Right. Like,
Shit.
yo, I want to let you know. So act like this is a shock to you, but all right, man. And the last thing on the NBA, man, Joel Embiid, he's wound up having some weird surgery where they're going to kind of try to rebuild his meniscus and ACL with some bone fragments from his hip. He's had knee problems all this year. They really probably should have just went ahead and shelved them this year, but they tried to keep on trotting him out there. His knee never responded, but he wound up still playing in the Olympics anyway. That's something he probably shouldn't have done as well. He was a past MVP. I saw him live in person put a 50 burger on the Wizards. Went up to a game last year. I mean, he was just phenomenal, especially when he was in his prime in terms of health and in playing. But he's just had these health challenges the last several years. Is he done? Is Joel Embiid cooked? Is he done in terms of what we saw of the Embiid of the last couple years?
It's hard to say because these experimental surgeries and all. Joel Embiid is still young enough and talented enough to have an impact. I think that he should be done in Philly. I think that they should move
Mm,
on and he should get
okay.
a some new scenery because it just he's the face of their franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And it just doesn't seem to be working out. And working out meaning winning the championship because they do make it to the playoffs most years, and they just get bumped. They get bumped so early sometimes. I think he would be a great piece on a veteran team that just needs one more piece to advance a little more. Of course, I'm gonna say my Lakers because they need a center, but even a team like the
Lakers.
Knicks, you know what I mean? Just a team that's there, but
Right.
may need something else to go over the top. That takes a lot of the pressure off of Joel Embiid, which they were trying to do in Philly anyway. But
Right.
it's always the pieces around him that don't seem to work out, and it puts more pressure on him. He plays injured. A lot of people don't like Joel Embiid. I think he's a phenomenal athlete. He talks a little too much, but I just think he needs to. I think he needs to get out of Philly. So no, to answer your question directly, I don't think he's done, but I think he should be done in Philly.
I agree with the done in Philly. I think he's done as a franchise player. This is not the guy you build your franchise on
Right,
anymore.
right.
Definitely. I think, yeah, being on another team where he's not the franchise would probably help him more. I'm thinking, man, once you start getting into the knees and you're doing these surgeries, it pretty much cuts off that what made that player special. They don't no longer come back the way that they were. I think about Klay Thompson. Not that Klay Thompson was a franchise player, but when Klay tore his Achilles trying to come back, and he had tore his ACL, and he was rehabbing from that, he was never the same player anymore. And you've
Hmm.
seen other players that have had ACLs and other things like that. They're not the same player anymore. So no, I don't think that dominant guy, that MVP guy, the franchise building guy, I don't think he's going to be that anymore. But I think he could definitely be a great contributing, a Celtics, like you say, a Knicks.
I said the
You
Knicks,
know,
forgetting that the Knicks have Cat now. They have
yeah. But they're not necessarily happy with Cat. But if he's playing, if you're not going to pay Embiid franchise money, but if he's giving you 20 to 25 minutes a game, that's great. A growing franchise like OKC, he would be great there. A Spurs, that would, Wimby wouldn't have to worry about being on the blocks all the time. That would be great there. And so I think being with a star player, and he's kind of like that B.C option for the future. I
Can
would be
you
mad at
imagine?
that.
Can you imagine him with the San Antonio getting back
Oh,
to the David Robinson, Tim Duncan days?
that would be crazy.
Wimby
With
and Embiid.
yeah, with De'Aaron Fox there, that would be
Yeah,
that's
that
a
would
very good
be.
squad. That's a very
Yeah.
good squad. That's a very good squad. So yeah. So I wish him the best with that. Let's transition a little bit to the NFL. Last week was the combine, and a lot of things going on, people being measured and all those things, and a lot of draft talk and who's going where. And so let me ask you this, it's a big conversation about Shador Sanders, Cam Ward, who's going to be the first quarterback to go. In your mind, who do you think is going to go first, Cam Ward or Shador?
It's going to be Cam, and they've already put the narrative out there on Shador that
Yeah,
he's,
he's
um,
arrogant.
yeah,
He's yeah,
it's he does. They give him that whole. He doesn't seem to know how to handle the spotlight thing. You know, his father is Deion Sanders, right?
right.
It's like,
He's been in a reality show probably since his sophomore, junior year of high school.
how about all
Because they
his
did
life?
a reality show for high school.
He's actually seen a reality show all his life. His
Right.
dad is prime time.
Well, he's been
Like,
starring in one too.
it's just,
He's been starring in a
I
reality
mean,
show all his life.
I don't understand why they're putting you
Yeah.
when it comes to personality. He is not equal to anyone else in the draft. He's just not. His father, if nothing else, his father can give him prime time media training, which is a lot different than media training that most of these athletes would get. So they're putting the word out on him now. So it's definitely going to be Cam going first. It's just a matter of who's going to take that chance on Shador. Is he going to drop down like a Lamar Jackson did, or is he still going to be a top 4 or 5 pick, like they're predicting? Is anybody going to trade up to get him? We talked about a team like the Raiders needing a quarterback. They just got Geno. I could see the Raiders if he drops down, or if they want to trade up. I could see the Raiders drafting him and having him sit behind Geno for its season, maybe two, or even not sitting behind him. Do that what the Steelers tried to do with Russell and Justin Fields, with the coming in for a play here and there, just to maybe get the starting job by the end of the season. I could see something like that, but it's going to be Cam. Cam's going to be the first pick in the draft. He may not go to Tennessee. They may trade out of there, but he's definitely going to be the first pick.
Just looking at the draft order of the top 10 teams, I think at least five of them need quarterbacks: Tennessee, Cleveland, New York Giants, um, Raiders, although they just picked up Geno Smith in the trade, Jets. I would say even the Saints, they're saying Derek Carr, but I think for their future, Derek Carr is not their future.
No, he's
And
not.
so, I would say they would need a quarterback too. And the 10th pick is the Bears who took Caleb Williams last year. So they don't need a quarterback. And so, you have at least 5 or 6 teams out of the top 10 that need quarterbacks. Well, yes, I know. I think Cam is definitely going to go within that top 5. I don't think Shador is going to fall out of the top 10. If he goes below 10, I'm really shocked. I'm really shocked if he goes below 10 because there are too many quarterback needy teams at the top of the draft that need it. The Jets, they need a quarterback. Uh, yeah, maybe you might go out and get a retread as a transition, but you need to draft a quarterback of the future. Carolina already has that. They drafted the young guy out of Alabama a couple years ago. He had a nice year
Mhm.
last year after really
Came
them
on strong
settling in.
last year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he came on very strong and towards the end of the season. Jacksonville, they have a quarterback. Patriots, they have a quarterback. Giants need a quarterback. Cleveland needs a quarterback. Tennessee needs a quarterback.
You think
Uh,
Jacksonville has a quarterback? I think they're going to move on from Trevor.
Lawrence, you think they're gonna move on? I mean, they got they have a new head coach coming in. He did wonders with Baker Mayfield in Tampa.
Yeah, they
I
they
think they
they
take one
might give
more
Trevor
run.
one more season.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I think
I
they
think
take one more run. And so yeah, so I would be surprised if Shador is drafted outside of the top 10. He was cold.
he
He was
should
cold.
not fall. He should not fall past the Giants.
Yeah,
If nothing else, the New York Giants need something for the fans to get excited about,
right.
something to go along with Malik Neighbors. So you got Neighbors and Sanders there. That's ticket sales
Oh
immediately.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's New York.
yeah,
They're always clamoring for a winner.
yeah.
So yeah, I would.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't think the Giants like black quarterbacks. I mean, they had Geno and they started Geno over Eli Manning, and people lost their minds. That cost the head coach's job there. And so we'll see. I would hope so, but I definitely think him being there. We went to the Giants game when the Ravens played them last year. Hey, leave DeVito up in there. Y'all had the worst quarterbacks. That was the easiest game to watch ever.
The easiest, like that was off of a bye week.
Right.
It was almost like a second practice. I'm sorry, Giants fans, if
It
y'all, I don't
was.
mean to, but it really was.
It
It was
was.
almost like a second
We ain't
practice.
had to fight nobody. Stadium was half empty. It was great.
Mhm.
It was great.
We didn't get our drinks because y'all don't like to serve
Right.
alcohol
Right.
after the third quarter.
After
We
the
talked
third
we
daggone
talked
quarter.
about that then. Fucking
After halftime, couldn't get no daggone drink.
Oh, it was right. It
Yeah,
was
it was
after
after
halftime. It
halftime.
wasn't even. It was the
Wasn't the
beginning
third
of the
quarter?
third quarter. They
Yeah.
shut it off.
Couldn't get a drink at
Fucking
halftime.
fucking
We did see
alcoholics
somebody get
anonymous
beat up though, but
ass.
it wasn't us. And so
He got his. Didn't he lose
he
his
did.
tooth?
He
He
did.
lost his
He
teeth.
lost his teeth and everything.
I can see why you. Maybe that's the reason why y'all do cut off alcohol at after halftime.
Yeah, maybe it's best. Will Travis Hunter will he be drafted as a wide receiver or cornerback? What you think he's going to go at?
Ooh, it's going to be tough. All the talk is that Cleveland may grab him, and if Cleveland grabs him, more than likely they're going to draft him as a receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe he can be a true two-way player. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like you coming in, you don't have to be the face of the franchise. You don't have to be the star of the team. If you're drafted high, you are going to be paid some money. But maybe they can try him on both ends, at least in the preseason, and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't know. It's hard to say if you're drafted by Cleveland, an AFC North team. I think your impact will probably be better as a cornerback because you're facing
Lamar,
receivers. Yeah, you're
and you
facing
facing
DeMar T. Higgins.
Burrow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got what's his name in Pittsburgh.
Either Wilson or Fields, whoever they decide to keep.
No, the
Oh,
receiver.
Pickens.
You got Pickens. You got Zay in Baltimore.
Yeah.
So I think if you're in the AFC North, if Cleveland drafts you, a cornerback would probably be the best position for them.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen that wide receivers. I don't want to say they're a dime a dozen, but you can find you a wide receiver a little later in the draft. You can find you a wide receiver that's productive. And then Cleveland doesn't even really have a quarterback. So, and
Sure.
again, I'm just looking at Cleveland's aspect if they do draft him.
Mhm.
So
I
maybe a
think
cornerback.
maybe he probably plays cornerback and they give him some wide receiver packages.
Makes sense.
Kind of
Makes
like what
sense.
they did with Dion when he got to Dallas. He was a cornerback, but then he started, playing in some wide receiver packages and everything. I think definitely not as a two-way because the league is too physical, and to have your best player, who maybe your best offensive player playing cornerback, and you know have to tackle, come up and give some run support to Derrick Henry coming around the outside. That's asking a lot, and
That's a lot.
that's asking a lot. And so, yeah, I don't think he's going to play. If he does play two way, he's not going to play the amount of snaps that he played at Colorado, of course. But I would love to see him more on the offensive side of the ball. I think he's an outstanding receiver,
Yes.
and he's an outstanding cornerback too. So they're going to have to figure that out, but it's a good thing to figure out. Good problems, but wish Travis the best. Now, we know that EDC and Harbaugh, and we talked about this the last time we recorded. They did make some statements about Justin Tucker and waiting for the NFL investigation of Tucker to play out. But what do you think the Ravens' off-season priorities should be? Because we're coming up on free agency. We saw that Geno Smith, he's been traded. There's been some word of a couple players that have been signed, but the official signing can't take place until next week. And so, next week starts free agency. We have Ronnie Stanley, who's probably our biggest free agent that's going to be on the market. Hopefully, the Ravens are able to re-sign him before the market opens. There's a thought he's like in the top 10 in terms of I've seen the most mocks for free agents this season. And there are a lot of teams that could use a quality left tackle. I would love to see him stay in Baltimore. Makari is also a free agent as well. And so they're going to be losing at least the left side of the line and having to replace their starting tackle and their starting guard. And so, what are your thoughts? What should be the Ravens' offseason priorities?
Yeah, so you have to resign Ronnie Stanley. I mean, he, a few seasons ago he was out, and we were all like, "Yeah, Ronnie Stanley stays hurt. He's not." The last 2 seasons, Ronnie Stanley has been solid. Now he does get the false start penalties, this and that, and but there has not been a game where we have actually looked at Ronnie Stanley and said, "This is your fault because of the
Right.
penalties and all." Ronnie Stanley has been solid. And if you watch some of these runs with Lamar and Derrick Henry, Ronnie Stanley has been getting his big ass out there and been blocking downfield. Like you got to resign Ronnie Stanley. We need some pass rushing. We say this every year.
Mm-hmm.
Then during the season, we're like, well, they're kind of getting there. Nah, we got to have some pass rushing. You know, you just it's when you're playing against teams like the Bengals that their receivers can get open, if you can put Burrow under pressure, then boom, that helps your secondary a lot. We got to get a pass rush. We just don't have a consistent one. I want us to get a monster. I don't know if that's in the draft, if that's in free agency, but I want us to get a monster. Of course, they're not going to trade Miles Garrett to us. We all know that, but you
Right.
never know. You never know. I'm
Yeah.
holding out. I'm holding out some hope.
He ain't
Um,
coming
they need
in.
they need a pass rush. They need to. I believe they need some secondary help because I believe a lot of their secondaries
They need a safety.
going to be free agents. So yeah, I know they're not going to re-sign, or they've already told Marcus Williams that
Yeah,
he's
they
not
already
coming
told
back.
Williams he's
So
not going. So he's going to be. I think he's going to be a June 1, a post June 1
yeah,
cut, so they can save some money on the cap.
yeah, it's which should be because since
Mhm.
he's come to Baltimore, he has not. Well, I'll give his first few games of the
Yeah,
first
the
year.
first
He was
year he
fine.
was
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Hmm.
I'll give him that.
But he's been injured, and then he was playing with one arm for 2 years, and then this last year was horrible.
just bad. He got deactivated basically. We
Yeah,
just
pretty much.
DMPs for the remainder of the season.
Do you think they should run it back one more year with Mark Andrews?
So we've talked about this.
Mhm.
I'd hate to see his last game as a Raven. That playoff game he dropped. He had his worst game as a Raven. I think they should. I think they should. I think that likely Andrews combination is killer. I think they do need another possession receiver. I said they need. I think they also need another running back. You all don't think they do. I think they need another guy. Derrick Henry is getting up there in age.
Mhm.
I like Justice, but they don't seem to want to make him the man. He's the backup, which is fine because he does well. You still have the young boy, but
Yeah.
he didn't
Yeah, he
do
was coming
anything
off
last
a
year.
ACL. I think they
Yeah,
probably had him on a pitch count.
it didn't seem like he had that burst whenever he got
Right.
into the open field. So you never know. I mean, yeah,
Excuse me. I think that yeah, we're not going to see any big free agent splash. This is not what the Ravens do. And so yeah, the Miles Garrett, um, the Micah Parsons dreams that people are having, they're not going to splash like that, y'all.
you don't
That's not
think
what the
Mike?
Ravens.
We got a chance at Micah.
They ain't gonna splash. That's not the That's not what the
It's not
Ravens
what
do.
they do. It's
That's
really
not
not
what
what
they
they
do. I mean, now I could see a Joey Bosa here. He's being released by the Chargers, and although he's had
do. Yeah,
a
but he
lot of
stayed
injuries,
injured.
you don't
Yeah.
have to pay him. It's going to be a 1 year deal. I could see a Joey Bosa here. I
Okay.
could see a Khalil Mack here. He's
Okay.
older.
Okay.
You're not going to give Khalil Mack a 3 year deal. You might get away with giving him a 2 year deal, something like what they did with Clowney the a couple years ago. I could see a Khalil Mack possibly here. Somebody that's, you know, they got a little bit of the tread is off the tire, and that's who the Ravens get. And I think that's what we would see on the defensive side. I don't think they need to go out and get a receiver. I think they're good at receiver.
You don't
Um,
think so?
I don't think so. I mean, if it's a Cooper Cup, yeah, but Cooper Cup is going to cost you. People going to want Cooper Cup. You're
Cooper
not just going to
31
get.
years old. I don't
Oh,
know.
come
He
on. There's going to be some team. You don't think a 49ers would love a Cooper Cup? You don't think, one of these top teams, a Chiefs, the Chiefs would love to have a Cooper Cup? So there's going to be a lot of teams that's going
not
to be willing to.
not a DK Metcalf, not a
No.
Devontae Adams.
Intriguing, but these are guys are going to want money. And that's not a Ravens type pickup, especially at
Well,
receiver.
I think DK is he's a trade. He wouldn't be free agency. He would be trade.
Yeah, he's asked to be traded, so yeah, he's
Yeah.
not a free agent. But to me, that's why you got these tight ends. I mean, you got Likely, you got Kohler, and if you rock with Andrews for 1 year, 1 more year, which I think they will, um, there you go. And,
Although
and you got
EDC,
Bateman and you got Zay.
although EDC did talk about the way he was talking, it didn't sound like they were
Yeah, it didn't sound like Andrews would
sticking
be
with.
back. Yeah,
Yeah.
but say you do keep Andrews and you go ahead and you run that season, or you're able to trade him for something good, then great. But you know, um, I don't think they necessarily need another receiver. Lamar has always shown to be kind of tight end centric since he's been
That's
here. Last year was really the last 2 years has been his really years that he started throwing to the receivers more, Zay particularly, and then last year Bateman more. But he's
Well,
he's
Bateman
always
finally decided to start working with him in the off season.
right.
Remember,
Eh,
we talked about that
we talked about
every
that.
year. Every
We
year, he
talked about
finally
that.
decided to work with him,
Yeah,
and look what happened.
yeah,
Look what
and
happened. Career year.
yeah, and so I think they could get by with just Bateman, Zay, and one of those young
Yeah,
guys
but
that
you
they
got
drafted.
Aguilar. Is Aguilar? He just they
Aguilar's
had
not going to be here next year.
they drafted a rookie last
Tez
year. Yeah, what
Tez
Walker?
Bryant,
I thought it was
Tez
Walker.
Walker, Tez Walker.
What happened? What he
He
didn't know?
caught that touchdown in the Giants game, but
Yeah, but that
I
was
think it's
it.
tough to get on the field. It's tough to
Uh,
get on the field. So
right.
maybe this is the year he steps up.
It's not.
And so
He's
we'll
supposed
see.
to have the blazing speed. He's
He's
supposed to
supposed to.
be the speed guy.
Yeah,
So
but I would like to see them pick up a safety. They're going to get a safety that is kind of like not totally down, but it's not going to be a flash. So I think for Ravens fans, we're just going to have to realize they don't go out and get flashes. This is not going to be a big flash signing type of thing. They're going to get some tried and true veterans that are kind of like they can give 1 year, 2 year deals to.
Mark Andrews, Justin Tucker, and a fifth round pick for Miles Garrett.
Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. No way that Cleveland's that dumb that they gonna trade Miles Garrett in division to their rival. Oh my
The
God, they would burn the city of Cleveland down.
the Cleveland owner. So Miles Garrett didn't want to
Yeah,
meet with them because he doesn't want to contract negotiate. So they asked to meet with the Cleveland
with the
owner.
owner, and he's
And
like,
he was
nope,
like, nah,
go talk to
because
my
we not
Dion.
trading you. Because
Right,
we not trading you. Like, hey, no,
and they basically got him. Like, you signed you, we got you for 2 more years. Either you gonna play or you gonna sit out and you gonna get fined.
this is why I am a player guy. When people talk about, oh well, the players, they should take a pay cut, they don't have any loyalty. These owners will hold you to the letter of the
Of
law.
course,
These owners will cut you at a moment's notice.
of
I am a
course.
player's guy. Jimmy Smith, a couple years ago, when he was going into his final year with the Ravens, he prior to that he said, I would never sign with another team because I'm always a Ray. I'm like, why? Why wouldn't you? If you got another team going to offer you a few $1,000,000, thank you, Baltimore, because Baltimore ain't
Right.
going to be loyal to you at the end of your career. Like, I don't understand it when players do that and when fans want players to be loyal, knowing that the teams aren't loyal.
He shouldn't have signed that deal. He shouldn't have signed that deal. He shouldn't have signed that deal. All right.
That,
All right. Let's talk a little boxing. Also last weekend was the Tank Roach fight. It was up in New York, and your boy Tank got some new now in his eyes. He got some Murray's Dax. He got that Dax grease in his eye off his braids, and took a knee, which it was a knee. Did you see the fight? First of all,
I saw some of it. I didn't see the knee live, but I did see the knee on the
yeah,
highlight.
I watched it. I watched it live. And I always say this: to beat the champ, you have to knock out the champ.
Gotta knock him out.
You've got to knock him out. Did Roach fight a great fight? Yes, he did. He had some flurries. It wasn't like he was overwhelming Tank. Tank had some flurries, but he did not necessarily overwhelm Roach as well. And as soon as it ended, I tweeted that it was going to be a draw because he did not dominate Tank in a way that you had to undeniably give it to him. It was close enough that you could get away with saying a draw, and that's exactly what happened. And so they've been popping off on Twitter and social medias. There is a rematch, in hand that's going to be happening. I think Roach is a PGDC guy, so the Moes and the fake the fake Moes and the Yos, because PG they the fake Moes. They from PG, but they act like they from DC. So the fake
It's all
Moes
the same to us.
and the real Yos is going to come out for the second fight. But what you think about Tank, man? One thing I saw that Tank won. I saw that his main coach, I forget coach's name, Ford.
Uh,
Ford is his last name. Uh, he wasn't the first in the corner. He was the second. So he was outside of the ring and all that stuff. So you see some switch up there. Tank, he was with Floyd for a minute. He not with Floyd no more. I don't know if it looks like he's still with Heyman. Heyman got all the fights, so I don't think you got any choice but to be with Heyman. But Tank, this it wasn't there. He was a little slow. I'm not gonna say he looked out of shape or anything, but Tank starts slow, but then by the fourth round, he starts to overwhelm people, and he starts to use that power, and he gets him out of there, and he could not turn it on. And he did take a knee. If you go on a technicality, then Roach would win the fight because he did take a knee because he had Dax in his eye. And so, what you think about Tank, man? We love Tank in Baltimore, but Tank might be on his way out.
First of all, I'm disappointed that you don't know Ford's first name. Like
Oh yeah, I
hurts
know.
me. It
Ford.
hurts me to
I'm
my
thinking
heart.
about it. I'm thinking about it.
It
Calvin.
hurts.
Calvin Ford. Calvin Ford. Thank you. Well, you're CLC. I didn't know he coached Ford, but yes, Calvin Ford.
um, I'm gonna say this, and listen, the reason why I'm bald is because lately I've gotten into quite a few fights, and the grease will get into my eyes, and it caused me to not see and get hit. So I had to cut it off if I wanted to maintain these hands.
Sure.
So I understand what Tank Davis is saying. I get it, bruh. It had to come off. You know what I mean? You get the grease chips and everything all in your hair, especially with the braid. Like my coif was quaffing. You know
Right.
what I mean? But then I had to cut it off.
Did you
No,
the
man.
Beijing? Did the Beijing used to drip in your eyes? Had the Beijing dripping down?
That was the Carlos Boozer. I didn't get any
Yeah, get
boozes.
the Beijing.
I didn't.
That
But
beard looking darker than it normally look. I'm talking mess because I just got my hair cut. I know my hairline looking a little bit darker than it normally looks.
but no, man. Yeah, it's from what I did see of the fight. Um, Tank didn't look as sharp as he normally looks. You can blame it on a lot of things. Boxing is so it, it's fickle. Boxing is fickle. At one point they can look sharp, the next they don't. You don't
Right.
know if that means it's the end of their career or maybe they're just having a bad night. And it could be something as simple as your main trainer being your second guy now. And they did a lot on. Seems like he's not rocking with him as much anymore. He was
Right.
ignoring
Coach
him,
Ford.
going to the
Hmm.
corners. So we just don't know. But I'm still in the camp of you, and this has always been the case for boxing. In order to be the champ, you have to beat the champ. And that means knocking him out or at least knocking him down. Now, taking the knee, technically, it would be, should have been considered a knockdown. But if you're a Tank Davis fan like we are, then it's just like, no, it wasn't a knockdown. I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean?
Right.
He had something in his eye. He had to get it together. But we'll see. The rematch should tell us a lot. If he's motivated for the rematch, because Roach is going to be motivated for the rematch.
Yes.
So if Tank is motivated for the rematch, this should really tell us a lot about where his career stands now. He was already talking about retiring after the fight anyway, but you can't, or retiring after this year, but you can't now because you got to take this rematch. So
Right.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I think, maybe his eye got off the prize a little bit and like I'm just gonna coast into this retirement. But now and it also opens the door for others who want to come up and fight. Shakur Stevenson and some of these other people who are in that weight class. It might be some money there as well. And so maybe this keeps the door open for Tank to fight a little bit more, but we'll see in the rematch and when that's announced. Um, I didn't ask you this um, pre pre recording, but the series premiere of Raising Cane season 4 came on last night. Was the Gangsters Don't Die? Was the
Gangsters don't die.
Gangsters Don't Die? And so it was a flashback of what happened at the end of last season, basically going back 3 weeks prior to the death of Ronnie. And we see that we know that Ronnie's brother. Oh my God, why I want to forget his name?
Um, uh, Unique.
Unique. Thank you, Unique. Why I want to forget Joey Badass's character.
Yeah, he's best
Unique,
character on the show.
best character on the show. Unique. He did not die after Ronnie pushed him over the hill. After he beat him up and pushed him down in the hill, he was able to come back, and now he's using his invisible power to kind of come back on Rock and on Kanan and on the Thomas family. We find out that Rock had an abortion, which could have been um, Unique's baby, because her and Unique was right. Unique was up in them guts for last season, so it definitely could have been Unique's baby. They did kill Kanan's dad. He ain't coming back, and they killed Ronnie. But now, we got the Italians in the equation and what goes on for there. So, what was your your impression of this opening episode?
I thought it was pretty boring.
I did too. I
I'm
was
not
kind of
gonna.
like, yeah, this is. I wanted to snap off. We saw Uncle Lou. It kind of because it went back 3 weeks before.
Yeah,
We still had to deal with the old stuff that did not close up at the end, because at the end of last season, Uncle Lou was in the rehab.
yeah,
All of those things that were going on, and so to go back and then to come forward is kind of a little janky.
yeah. I didn't. I mean, it was okay. If they were going to, and they did a whole lot of going back. I guess we're setting up certain things like it looks like Marvin is going to be working for
The Italian head,
yeah, the Italian.
gonna be
So
the head
it
for the
seems like they may
Italian.
be setting some things up for the upcoming season. But if we were going to go back like that, I would have rather them had concentrated mostly on Unique, how he did his rehab, and that didn't seem like much. But I don't want to say rehab, but how he recovered.
Right.
But yeah, I thought it was pretty boring. They could have moved forward and still shown some of that stuff. You know what I mean? But they didn't move forward. So although it was the premiere, it was more like a recap almost, let's
Basically,
say. And then we'll get the real premiere next
next
week.
week.
So
Yeah, like Juke, she still was with the group and all that other
yeah,
stuff. So yeah,
yeah,
trying to figure. It looks like she knows she's going to do this military thing. I guess
yeah,
it's going to be the link to her becoming a officer and all this other stuff. So we'll see what happens with
yeah. So I
it.
thought
It was a so-so beginning. So pick it up, 50. We want to see what happens with this. And so this brings us to the point of the show that everybody loves. Come on, yo. Come on, yo. I got to come on, yo. Let me start off with my come on, yo, real quick. Charles Barkley. Come on, yo. Shut the F up, Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley, you are an entertaining cat on TNT. You are on the Inside NBA show. You're a funny guy. That's how we call Anthony Davis street clothes. It came from you. And your insight into some of these games and players, it's good. It's on point. But you lose me when you start making these little personal attacks on other personalities. This stuff that you're going back with Kendrick Perkins about and ESPN and all this stuff. You're a part of all of this. You're a part of this ongoing talk of players. You're not always talking about the performance of players. It gets personal for you as well. And so you're no better than Stephen A. You're not any different than what Kendrick Perkins gives us as well. You're working for a corporation, a conglomerate. You, I don't know if you're doing this for clicks or whatever, but just focus on the games. This, yeah, they can see me. What's this? Is this gonna be Battle of the Network Stars? We got a new one. Y'all gonna get out and play a one-on-one game? You and Kendrick Perkins? We gonna play a one-on-one game for charity or something? Which y'all gonna race around the track like Gabe Kapler and the other guy did that year for a Battle of the Network Stars or something? Y'all gonna have a tug of war?
they better be careful. Aren't they going
Yeah.
to ESPN next year?
Yes, they're going, and that's the crazy part. Although the show is going to be still recorded in Atlanta, it's going to be on ESPN. And so, this, yeah, that's like it's like Apple fighting with IBM or something, or you know what I'm saying? Like Bill Gates beefing with the head of Apple. Okay, yo, we get it. Yeah, yeah, all those things. But yeah, Charles Barkley, just shut the F up, yo. Come on, yo. We don't need all the whole back and forth. Y'all nothing but studio gangsters. You ain't gonna slap Kendrick Perkins when you see him. You ain't gonna say nothing to Stephen A. Smith. We're gonna look up in another couple months, come to playoffs or the NBA Finals when they do a cross show and you guys are on there. Y'all gonna be laughing, joking, and kissing and hugging. And so, yeah, shut up, Charles. Yeah, Charles Barkley. I always, first of all, I've had a beef with Charles Barkley because I remember when he was doing that show on race. Someone at TNT say, hey, let's do a show. You know, George Floyd has died. We got Black Lives Matter. We have, the country is at a high racial point. We should talk about it. And you know who we should get to host these shows? Someone said Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley came to my hometown of Baltimore and they chased his butt out of Baltimore. He up in here talking about we need to support the police, and they read his butt. Almost caused a riot over there in that church with Charles Barkley saying dumb stuff. Because Charles Barkley, he is for one time. He's part of the Police Benevolent Society. He is although he's a black man, he's very white in his political viewpoints and paradigm. And so yeah, Charles Barkley, just stick to basketball, G. That's all I gotta say.
Um, my come on, yo, is we gotta every now and then we do it. Probably more often than not. I'm saying every now and then, but let's talk about this. Is kind of about this current administration, but let me get a little further into it. So, during the State of Delusion address on Tuesday,
Crazy.
uh, representative from Texas, Democratic representative from
Al Green.
Texas, Al Green. Ah, oh baby. So Al Green heckled Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Basically saying that he does not have any mandates, where Trump was spewing some incorrect things about his administration, and he heckled him. So out they sicked the sergeant of arms on him, the and
Right.
put him out.
They moved him out. Yeah.
Yeah. So later on in the week, just the other day, they voted to censure the representative. So if you don't know what censure means, basically he's out for a period of time. No votes, none of that for a period of time. Which is all within their rights and all. And even though the Republicans have done it plenty of times through the Obama administration, through the Clinton administration, and through the Biden administration, and they have not been censored or removed at that. But that's not where my beef lies. They have to take a vote to censure any of these representatives. And 10 Democrats crossed the line and voted to censure their fellow Democrat. Now we want to be bipartisan, and it comes from the Democrats. Where were you all when Marjorie Taylor Greene was heckling Joe Biden? When Ann Boebert was heckling Joe Biden? When they were heckling Barack Obama?
Told him you lie.
Where were you all then? Why don't you force them to come and cross over, jump the line when we're trying to pass bills and legislation that actually helps the American people? So now you want to punish a black man at that, which prompted him and other black representatives to sing "We Shall Overcome" on the floor of the House. New York, Pennsylvania, Hawaii, California. There were actually two from California. Washington, the state of Washington, and I can't remember where the others are from. And of course, they're all people of a pale complexion. But come on, yo. What are we doing here? Now we're infighting when we need to be fighting for the people against the evil that's happening to the people. You literally have a guy up here who's been lying. And that's the thing. He may have heckled him, but was he telling the truth? Yes, he was telling the truth. Was he out of line? Okay, he may have been out of line, but did he say anything that disruptive where the people in his own party are like, oh man, I can't rock with that? No, he didn't do that. He didn't do anything like that. But you motherfuckers are so far up in Donald Trump's ass and want his approval so bad and want to keep your seats. You don't want to lose your seats, fearing that you will lose your seats, that you're going to do anything to be on his good side. I can't, come on, y'all. This is fucking ridiculous. The state that we are in right now is fucking ridiculous. What we're also finding is that this country is standing alone. Mexico is not an ally. Canada is not an ally. Most of Europe is no longer an ally. So who do we have? Russia? So we're comrades now? We're Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Let me go back to my focus on these 10 Democrats. It's not even a come on, yo, to them. It's fuck you all. Fuck all 10 of you. Fuck all 10 of you. Because you are showing your true colors right now. And I truly, truly hope that your constituents see that and you get voted out of office. I truly hope you get voted out of office because that is bullshit. We're supposed to stand as one right now. And we're not. But you know what? Black people, it's not our fight. It's not our fight.
Right.
We see what every corner we turn, we see what they do and where they stand. It is no longer our fight. Let them do what they do.
We did what we were supposed to do.
We did what we were supposed to do. But this is bullshit. Come on, yo. Come on.
Yeah, yo. Then the Democrats had the nerve. They were singing "We Shall Overcome" at the end.
But they were the black Democrats. You know, they were the ones standing with them. I can't believe these motherfuckers cross party line. You know what? You're right. You're right. You're right. Because you can never trust. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, it's crazy, these tariffs and all that stuff. And yeah, it's yeah.
Anyway, good show, because I try to stay away from politics nowadays. I try to stay away because
good show.
It's stressful. Good show, man.
Undone before the landlord come in here and pull the plug out. He come in like
he FaceTime me. His mother sent me a message. He let me know like what the fuck are you, Pop?
Right.
What the fuck are you? I need to be over there. Have my food, my snacks, have all my shit ready. Have my toys ready. Shit.
Be ready. Let Calvin go so he can be standing by the door when the landlord show up.
Hey man, we talked about Canaan a little bit. Are we gonna branch off? We're gonna branch off and do the thing. All right, people. All right, people. We about to go back. Make sure you get prepared. Watch Canaan. You know, we take comments and stuff on that. You know, we're gonna prepare for this. We want you all to join in, tell us your thoughts. So be prepared for that. Otherwise, you can see us live on YouTube right now. We are live on my Facebook page. I did show that. I'm probably going to try to throw it on to the All Things Black page, get it off of my personal page and put it on the All Things Black page. We are on all these podcast platforms. This will be up later today. This is Saturday, sometime Saturday, later this afternoon or Saturday evening. And you can see our beautiful faces on Spotify if you do have that. Otherwise, man, let me hit this outro because
spring forward. About to lose that hour.
About to lose that hour.
Yeah, about to be light. About to be back outside.
You have been listening to the B.I.G. Show. This show was produced and written by Calvin Coates and Garland Thomas for All Things Black Productions. Follow us on all of your podcast media platforms.
Do it.
All right, man. Later, Garland.
All right, bro. Have a good Saturday.
You too.
Peace.